What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Redemption with Jaded. I've got another deck for you today, brand new and fresh with a game to go with it. We haven't done this in a little while, or at least this format on Lackey, just because there were two online tournaments in January that I wanted to record and get for you guys, and then also the live stream that was, I guess, beginning of January and beginning of February. So we're going to keep on doing those, but for now we're going to get back into a couple of these, this style of video, I guess, where I'm just playing a deck that I built on Lackey with someone out there. This week it's going to be against Chad Frantz. We're going to talk a little bit about his deck. I'll just do it now. He built a Zebulon deck after the ignore rule change, and it's still actually pretty good. Kind of utilizes a few cards that disincentivize, or I guess disable, blocking from hand, which makes Zebulon very good, especially with Joseph, protecting him from discard and making him cannot be negated. So it's going to be a cool game to get to see. Really cool deck that he's got going there. But let's talk about this deck a little bit. What do we got going on here? So in the January online tournament, or the one that was actually for January, it was in January, or there were two in January, but the one on the 23rd was actually for January. I played in LOC only, and Kai was using a Kings of Judah deck, and I was kind of like, I want to try this out, but I'm going to do it in the regular format, see if it's viable at all, just because Lost Souls are very good right now, or very important to decks and getting like set up quickly. Or can we build a deck that can utilize meek Lost Souls to the best advantage, using all of these kings and queens of Judah that have this unity meek Lost Souls clause, I guess, or that are dependent on the number of meek Lost Souls and that kind of stuff. So we're going to see if it's viable. I figured that these are kind of the best set, I guess, of kings and queens that I decided to use. There might be, I think there's an argument for using like King, or like Jehoiachin and Jehoiakim and Jehoiakin. I think there's probably arguments for both, especially with Gates of Jerusalem, to make them cannot be negated. And I did initially have King Jehoiakim in reserve in Uzzah spot, because Deceiver can go for him, and then also Ahaziah can search for him as well. I decided that Uzzah was just too good at this point, and there were definitely cases, with all of these curses and covenants and idols and artifacts in the deck, I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to end up having artifacts that I don't need, so having Uzzah kind of helps to mitigate the loss of value that some of them might have throughout a game. And it just seems like a better, like, more consistent blocker, and I have other options for cannot be negated stuff, so yeah, I don't know. I didn't get quite enough test games in to see which one would be better, but I landed on Uzzah for this game. I think some of these are very good. Like Ahaz is kind of cool if your opponent has Noah's Ark out, and so their heroes and territory are protected from being discarded. They can still discard their defense, but if they don't have humans, maybe they're playing animals or demons, or just keeping their defense in their hand, then they either have to discard their hero in battle or let the Lost Souls be protected. And if Gates of Jerusalem is out, making them cannot be negated, then that's pretty sweet. King Amon is one of the multiple ways we have in the deck to negate Lost Souls. We didn't have Moses in the initial list, but I decided kind of having those multiple layers of character and Lost Soul negation. Moses also hits enhancements, which is nice sometimes. We have to be careful with our own, but we've got Oath of Purity in here to kind of regulate like which one is on the battlefield and active. But having those ways to negate your opponent's Lost Souls to make sure that they don't get that advantage, and then also negating some of their other stuff, like their annoying characters, their enhancements, and also all the curses, and negate their artifacts and sites. Just kind of multiple layers of hindering their, or kind of making sure they can't outpace us by too much, because this deck is slow. That's kind of how, like, Teal is kind of one of those offenses that used to be okay, then it was pretty bad. Now it's, I think, back to okay, and maybe, or like even competitive to a certain degree, just because it's not going to be like super fast, but it is pretty consistent and having like enough strong rescues to where it doesn't have to be super fast. I'll keep talking about the defense for now, though. Queen Maka, I think, is actually super nice with Ashurapul, because there are lots of heroes that say negate in the special ability, and so if you can kind of surprise them with a Ashurapul activation during the battle, then Queen Maka is nice. And she also bans to Rehoboam, who is by far the strongest evil character in the defense, in my opinion, especially if you can make him cannot be negated with Gates of Jerusalem. Then that just shuts down like a whole lot of stuff that they like can't even, you know, play woes or something to negate him, so they can play their enhancements. And then on the enhancements, we've got pretty standard, just like strong brown enhancements. Reap the Whirlwind might be a good fit for the deck as well, and probably also Haemon's Plot if you're like trying to be super competitive. But I'm also, if you haven't noticed by now, there are 8 lost souls over here because we're running the deck at 57, so we don't really have the space or leeway to play Haemon's Plot unless it's squeezed into reserve somewhere. But with no Persian Horseman to like grab it out kind of by surprise, I'd have to grab it with Storehouse, and that's just not quite as good. So decided to go without it. Maybe it could replace Korra's Rebellion. Yeah, probably not. So Korra's Rebellion, here's the reason I have that in here. It's a very negatable card, pretty much going to be negated every time you play it, unless you play it on Solomon the Wise, or well, I guess no, Solomon the Idolater, who's the evil character side, which really should be over here in the stack of evil characters, because I'm pretty much never going to be playing him as a hero. But I suppose I could put him down as a hero and bounce him with Oath of Purity when I need him to block. But anyways, usually you kind of want to surprise your opponent with him, because having an evil character that makes evil enhancement CPN is very good. Doesn't have any other conditions like Nurgle Shreezer needs another Babylonian in play or something. I guess aside from the fact that you need Unity, Meek, Lost Souls, which the deck has for various reasons, as you can tell. So yeah, having this with Korra's Rebellion and hitting that, or having an interrupt battle and banish all cards in battle is pretty sweet. That's not something that the other brigades with cannot be negated enhancement characters have. Like Naaman doesn't have that. I mean, I guess like the only other one there is Joseph in Prison, and I don't think there's a way to play that on a character unless you like convert them or something to a different brigade. Since most of them are Oshi enhancements used by this character cannot be negated, so you can't even like band with a character of a different brigade. So Solomon the Idolater plus Korra's Rebellion, super sweet if you can hit like a huge banding chain. It's basically like game over at that point if you can like kind of hit the core of their offense. Really nice. So with using Kings of Judah on defense, I decided that Solomon's Temple would be a really good utility fortress, because you can, instead that Angel Rescue or that some of the other discard stuff like Samuel's Edict, I guess isn't super popular anymore, but it's still lurking out there somewhere, I'm sure. Any other discard or capture enhancements can be used or can be insteaded, but you have to have a teal card in hand to discard, so we're using a teal offense. I decided to basically take the same teal offense that Josh Portraz took to second place. Pretty sure it was second place, might have been third. Pretty sure second place at 2019 Nationals in Type 1-2 player. It might hurt him a little bit to know that it's being used in a 57 card deck, because he's a diehard 50 card player. But this is also not really meant to be a super competitive, like, top cut at nationals level deck. But I think it is pretty good. Like, I think it can hold its own. The defense is kind of chunky and can, at least stall for a while. But the deck really isn't that fast. Like, Teal isn't known for being fast, it's just more about being powerful, and that's kind of what I'm feeling about Kings of Judah as well, is that, I mean, they're not very fast. You don't have, like, Lying Prophet or, Sabbath Breaker or Damsel, those kind of blockers, or even, like, False Leaders to kind of get some value with those territory class enhancements. But you get a lot of strength in battle, which I think is nice, and Amon for, like, the territory control stuff. So the offense is pretty much the same as that, with the addition of Royal Parade, obviously, as being one of the cards that didn't exist when Josh built the deck, but obviously would have gone in had it existed, just because it's so good with Joshua the High Priest. It does kind of hurt to build a Teal deck without Joshua the Restorer in it, but he just didn't really fit in the deck, and also Joshua the High Priest is, I mean, it's the same unique character, so can't have them both, and Joshua definitely is very good in this deck with, like, Zeal for the Lord, also CBN on Phineas, and that's kind of the idea of the deck, is getting these rescues with, like, single heroes to avoid scattered, and then interrupt or have initiative to play a cannot be negated enhancement. Josh's version used Ezekiel and the Ezekiel version of New Covenant, which kind of gives another option there of a very recurable cannot be negated play. It also uses the Tabernacle, which is kind of a downside of using this offense with Solomon's Temple, is get the Tabernacle to recur gifts and offerings and Zeal for the Lord. But hopefully they're getting the job done, getting the lost souls you need when you're playing them, so you don't have to recur them necessarily. But I decided to use Ezra instead of Ezekiel. I thought that with a brown defense, taking your opponent's artifacts, or at least threatening to, is quite good. And I also splashed in Moses. He wasn't in the initial version, but I just figured having kind of that extra layer of lost soul negation with Amon and all the curses was pretty good. And I do have a few territory class enhancements that he also will negate, and some characters like Melchizedek and Amon that he will also negate, so you kind of have to manage who's out with Oath of Purity. But Oath of Purity, yeah, makes it pretty easy to do that, so that's kind of a nice benefit to the deck. Other than that, I guess I think he also uses the Prophecies of Christ version of Melchizedek, which might be better, but in this deck, probably not, because I am kind of protecting lost souls and targeting them with, like, Sheol and Treason and Ahaz, so protecting them from evil cards, not great. But generating lost souls is pretty good. Protecting pretty much all my heroes from capture and convert abilities is pretty good. And also the kind of cool thing is, if I really wanted to, if I had high places out, I could search my own deck for a lost soul and draw 2 whenever one of my priests enters battle. So yeah, just kind of a thought there. If I'm, like, really behind on cards and already have lost souls out, might as well do that if I don't need to generate any from my opponent. That's pretty much the gist of the offense. The rest of it, I guess, is basically just Jeremiah and Urim and Thummim. If they have only one evil enhancement in hand, then obviously Jeremiah can just get in there and get the job done. If they have 2 enhancements in hand, can grab the first sacrifice of a storehouse, take out one of them, and then go on with Jeremiah. So yeah, definitely some utility there. So why are we running the deck at 57 cards? I mean, as you can see, the deck is actually fairly balanced. There's a couple more heroes and a few less evil enhancements, but overall it's more balanced than most decks in the meta. So if it were like a 50 card deck, you would probably just see a fewer evil characters and some more heroes, or maybe some more good enhancements. probably more heroes. But so that's not really the reason that it's 57. The more so because we have so many utility cards here. We can see all 5 fortresses is a lot for Type 1-2 player. But I think they're all necessary and very good. I'm a little bit like I was kind of close to cutting high places, to be honest, because like it just felt like every time, or like every draw, like I was just getting my losses out much faster than getting high places. And I did have Foreign Exile in here for a while. It's the evil territory class enhancement that lets me search for an OT fortress, but I decided to cut that just because if you draw it later in the game and when you already have your fortresses, it's just a dead card. There's like literally no other use for it aside from like discarding a card from your hand from an opponent's ability. But high places, it hurt a little bit. That like I didn't really feel like it was getting the value that it should, especially because your opponent's probably not going to be running meek lost souls, so you don't get the benefit from them. But I think pairing it with Sheol is like just enough to put it into the viable range of, or like playable range of a card. And it holds an idol, which isn't too bad. I've got both Astropole and Golden Calf in here that can just sit on high places, free up my artifact slot for something else when I have Book sitting in Solomon's Temple. So I can, put Endless in my main artifact slot or something like that. Or one of these curses, actually, would probably be more likely. And let's see, the other thing you can do is exchange Lost Souls and then underdeck your opponent's Lost Souls with Sheol. Technically there's a chance of being able to soul lock your opponent, where basically you just exchange for, I guess in this case, since we have 8, you'd have to exchange for 4 of their Lost Souls and then underdeck all 4 of theirs. Then we've only got 4 Lost Souls left in our deck, and it's going to be impossible for them to win unless they can reset the Lost Souls in their territory or generate some with some capture characters or something like that. So it's technically possible, not really a goal of this deck. Gates of Jerusalem we talked about. Storehouse was originally a House of Prayer, and it was in Josh's version as well, but one of the things he noticed was Storehouse would probably just be better with the protection, and you don't really need the access to the good enhancements right away. At least like the ones going into your deck. So I just figured this would probably be better, a little bit more or less expensive, I guess, than having to exchange, especially in a slow deck like this. I don't really want to be putting cards back into my deck. So I think the hand protection is also pretty important in the current meta with cards like First Sacrifice floating around. Solomon's Temple, obviously. Then with 8 Lost Souls, we get the benefit of 8 Dominance. That's why you run 57 over 56. I think it's pretty much always the better option. Basically, you just have to, if you have a 56 card deck, you basically just have to find 1 card to cut, and then put another Lost Soul and another Dominant. So it's kind of like you're just thinking, like, okay, what card in this deck can I take out for another Dominant? Usually that shouldn't be too hard. The 8th Dominant, I guess, in this case, is Glory of the Lord, kind of the one that's sort of off meta. Obviously Led Astray is a little off meta too, but if you're running Unity meek Lost Souls, it's kind of an obvious include, better than like Falling Away or something, I think. Yeah, so Glory of the Lord, having that for Solomon's Temple is super nice. Saves you against the shipwreck, protects your Book of the Covenant as well, just to make sure that you keep your covenants cycling here. Like if you want to keep searching and activating your new covenant to do some banding, that kind of stuff, I think is very important. And then also just keep getting that draw, protecting your Oath of Purity and your You Will Remain, that kind of stuff. I think Glory of the Lord is definitely worth it, if you can fit it. Like if it was a 50 card deck, Glory of the Lord would be the one to cut, but since we wanted to get to 57 with all these utility cards and kind of the bigger offense and defense, then that was the card that I ended up with. Anything else? Last notes on the deck. I know it's getting kind of long here. Scapegoat is in reserve for offering your son to grab it. If you really need to, since it's kind of a slow deck, you can grab it and stall for a turn while you kind of get some more resources, set up some defense. And it's also a good negate for offense if you need it. And yeah, that's I think we pretty much touched on everything. So let's go ahead and get into the game. Time to see what the priests and the kings can do. Alright, one lost soul. No, well, actually, I do have a star ability. We'll see what lost souls he draws, and we'll probably use that, but okay, no, he didn't. I'm just in case one of his star abilities lets him draw a lost soul. I'll negate the lost souls. I don't know what his star abilities are, but alright, he's got Father Abraham. That's not going to grab a lost soul, but you know. Yeah, we got a really nice attack starting off here with both Zadok and Jeremiah. Can do a little bit of bending here. And Zadok also triggers Eliezer, son of Aaron, so yeah, really nice attack. But he doesn't have any lost souls. Probably still attack anyway, because we can get the Eliezer trigger and also look at his hand. Question is, do we want to go first or second? And he's using Solomon's Dream to look at my hand. Okay. One thing I will note about star abilities is that technically you have to, it's kind of like banding a bunch of heroes into battle. You have to play them all, or you play them all or reveal them all at the same time, and then you order the abilities. It's just so that, like, you know, he could play Solomon's Dream, look at my hand, and then decide, oh, I don't want to use Father Abraham's star ability to play a hero for, you know, some reason, for something he's on my hand. So that's just something to think about, or I guess remember. I mean, if we let him go first, we don't have a block either way, and I'm not really going to be able to draw cards on my turn. So I think we just let him go first, because we don't really have anything to set up. So unfortunately we will be giving up a lost soul. I guess we also kind of open him up to getting some like counters down. We also want him to draw a lost soul, but maybe he'll use Father Abraham and draw a couple cards. Maybe, yeah. And if he does play some counters, we've got both Chronicles of the Kings and Three Woes to answer some threats. Yes, he did see our hand and see that we didn't have any evil characters, and you know, he'll probably judge whether or not he wants to draw based off of that. Drawing Melchizedek would be a really nice draw, because it can generate a lost soul, captive priests as well. Yeah, so he's coming out with Father Abraham, and he might choose not to draw. Can just play a hero, since it's activated star, or his star ability, and or draw X. I feel like in a deck like his, like he'll probably be better off drawing here. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on what defense he has already. This is playing a meek Noah, which is fine. I think we can maybe handle Noah. Maybe. Oh, he does draw. Come on, Lost Souls. Hey. No, I'm not sure is if Jeremiah still negates it. Yeah, so Marcus confirmed that darkness is still negated, so the until end of turn on Jeremiah checks for the next end of someone's turn. So it's from when the star ability is active to the end of the turn. So we still have to give up a lost soul here, because as you can see, no blockers. But that is nice that he both drew a lost soul for us and didn't get to use his ability. So Jeremiah coming in clutch. Definitely makes sense in a deck that only uses meek lost souls. So. Alright, so he's playing Emmaus Road, taking a good star card from deck or reserve. I don't think with his heroes out like this so early, like Noah's Ark would probably be a good fetch. First sacrifice is also pretty good right away. I'm guessing he drew Emmaus Road off of Abraham because of the fact that he would have played it before battle otherwise. But grabbing Delivered is pretty good because now he can go ahead and... oh yeah, okay. I was just checking the brigades and the heroes because I was like, well, I'm pretty sure they're all blue-red, aren't they? And then it's like, oh yeah, that one's Noah. So now I can go ahead and activate an artifact from his deck. I feel like Endless Treasures plus some kind of counter would be good, or would be, you know, something that's usually good for first turn. Book of the Covenant kind of feels a little bad because he can't like activate the covenant that he searches for. Since it's after his attack. So Book of the Covenant just searches for the covenant, but it doesn't have an activate an artifact ability, so you can't activate the covenant you search for in your discard phase, which is why Book of the Covenant really isn't all that great with Delivered. But I mean, he still now has it for next turn, so it's, you know, not too bad. But like not getting the draw on the upkeep is kind of bad. And now I have an opportunity to you know, mess with it before he really gets any value. Like if I really wanted to, I could play Chronicles of the Kings. But wow, he's really getting going here, playing Solomon's Dream to take a good card from his deck. We'll see what he goes for here. I mean, I almost feel like that'd be better to save for his next turn when he's waiting to attack, but I guess if I have something to like counter or like negate his enhancements or prevent him from playing enhancements or something, that would, you know, make sense to play it now. But I mean, he's going to want to play the first sacrifice before the battle anyway, probably, so if he can't play Solomon's Dream or it's negated, then he's probably not going to be able to play the first sacrifice. Unless he just wants to play the first sacrifice now and, you know, take out my woes or my chronicles or something that he saw in my hand, or even my gates, which is, you know, has potential to be pretty good. Alright, no Meek Lost Soul to underdeck with a star ability here, which is alright, because I guess then we don't show him that we have it. Well, I don't know. Maybe with gates it's worth putting him down and showing him, but without any lost souls, if he can't generate any, then that's probably fine. So let's put down some fortresses here. Can at least, yeah, put down Solomon's Temple so that we can instead, like, if we really need to or it really makes sense, we can instead a discard or a capture of Jeremiah. And I think that's the only thing we need right now. One thing I would really like is to put a Tabernacle artifact in reserve, but I just can't really justify the slot without playing Exiles. So, I don't know. Do I want to just ban to one of... Do I want to just ban to his Noah? No, probably not. So we'll look at his hand. Pretty sure that's how you spell peak in the peak that I'm trying to peak with. Peak. Weird word. Alright, he's got the wives. Go. Good thing we didn't really do any other drawing here. He's got Mayhem. Prophets of Samaria. That's alright. I don't think he wastes... Well, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't really be a waste here, but I don't think he plays Mayhem here. It doesn't, like, update with foreign wives. If he did, and he didn't put... or there's no guarantee he would get to keep foreign wives in his hand with 8 cards. It'd be a pretty risky play. So I think we get the Lost Soul here, which is good. I don't think he blocks with Prophets of Samaria just to see my hand, or I mean he already like saw my hand, so so yeah, I'm glad we didn't draw into like Endless Treasures or something, because that would have been rough. So Zadok entered battle, so I can trigger that search there. Question is, who do we want? So we can grab Phineas, Joshua. I like Joshua as an option. I think it's just Phineas and Joshua at this point, and then also Ermin Thummim, because we can get Laser Priest, or House of Laser Priest, and a Priestly Artifact. Very nice value here. Yeah, I think we get Joshua just because he's a little more versatile, however you pronounce it. I feel like it's kind of a subjective thing. Alright, and we didn't draw any Lost Souls, so that's good. Hopefully he draws one for us. And down to one to one. Already off to a nice quick start, which is good. Do I put down the gates? I feel like this is a little risky, but if he has First Sacrifice, then that would also be not great. I mean, I guess if he does, he's probably hitting Woes or Chronicles. But I kind of like my evil characters being down and protected. Yeah, that feels a little bit better. Who do I want to put the foreign horses down too? Probably not. We'll just stick with that. I mean, I think like in case he has a way to generate a Lost Soul, that's the best move. I don't like seeing Lawless coming down, but at least like when I don't have Amon or Moses or whatever, all the curses, all my stuff here to negate Lost Souls, and still gets to use them. Didn't find anything on turn 1. That's alright. So I guess I can hover over them so that you guys can actually read them in case you don't know what they do. He's triggering his exiles first, so you can take an OT artifact from his reserve, or he might top deck a good Star Nansen from discard pile. He could recur his Solomon's Dream, or Delivered if he really wanted to. Solomon's Dream is probably better at this point. But if he does that and then triggers Lawless, then it goes to the bottom, so maybe that's not the best option for him. But if he does Delivered, he can take it with Lawless, so that actually wouldn't be terrible. Get it to play an Endless Treasures or something. I mean, at this point, he's fine with continuing to draw because he drew 2 Lost Souls, so then you might hit some more with Lawless. Alright, he takes I Am Holy from his reserve. Seems pretty good. Although, I mean, he probably could have searched for that with Book anyway. Because, I mean, I imagine he's going to want to activate his Covenant with Noah that he got last turn. And then maybe also I Am Holy. I think if he does activate I Am Holy, it's probably worthwhile to drop Chronicles. I might even like block him or something during battle. Ooh, I get to see it here too. Revealed to all players. I really didn't get to see it, but that's alright. They went to the bottom, I think. Alright, he took false piece. That's not great, but that's kind of how the deck seems to be going at this point. On the bright side, he did get another Lost Soul out, and it was not, and he's not able to trigger the ability because it wasn't drawn. So it was Awake Lost Soul. I don't know. I feel like right now in the meta, the Awake Lost Soul, like, I think it belongs in a deck like his because I think you really want to go first in this kind of deck, or like my post-exilic deck is another one like that, and like probably a few other decks as well. He got to the shipwreck for the gates. That's a bummer. Oh well, he was gonna have it eventually anyway. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Awake. I think Awake is, yeah, I mean, decent enough. I think I play woes here. Yeah, I think I do. I'm pretty sure I play it as evil too. Yeah. I suppose I could have waited until he was about to go into battle because it was during his prep phase. So I could have like let him search for something. But yeah. Didn't want to forget. Sometimes I just start talking to myself, or I mean to you guys, and you know, forget that I need to pay attention to what's happening. And when we're playing, and like when I'm playing online like this, you can't really like set a stop or something, you know, for someone to you know, wait before they go to their attack if you have something that you want to play. But yeah, he's saying that he probably should have used Lawless on me, which I think, yeah, probably would have been the right play, but then he still gives me more defense as well. So if he had Majestic Heavens in his hand, then maybe that would have been okay. I could have played Woes on Lawless too if I really wanted to. So yeah, he plays False Piece to grab Noah's Ark, which makes sense. Wants to protect his heroes and territory, and also it's another spot to activate his blue covenants, which he seems to have a few of. It's also nice because it's in the set-aside area, so when you activate covenants here, they don't get negated by cards like all the curses that negates opponent's neutral cards, or like I can't target it with 3 woes, that kind of stuff. So that's pretty good. So activate Covenant the Noah, take a Genesis Human from his deck, and let's see, I'm guessing he'll probably just go with Zebulon again. So that was kind of, yeah, what it seemed like he was trying to get working here. Bummer about Zebulon is with the ignore rule change, where if a hero is ignoring an evil character in battle, it just basically becomes a stalemate. That made things significantly worse because since you can still block from hand if an evil character is ignored, then once you block from hand, then you know it's basically a stalemate, and that's, you know, not really much you can do. On the bright side, like Zebulon doesn't die, and the evil character goes back to territory, so you kind of just get into like a you know, Zebulon can just keep on pushing out until they run out of evil characters in their hand or something. But yeah, it just gets kind of it's not very fast, I guess, or like not quite as reliable anymore, which is a shame because in the past couple sets Zebulon got a whole bunch of stuff that you know, made the offense as a whole very fast with all like these searching cards and everything. Like he's just going nuts with everything he's playing. Yeah, so I activated Endless Treasures on your deck to take Unsuccessful from his reserve, which let him draw 2. Drew back into the Emmaus Road Boomerang, because, you know, it always comes back so quickly, it seems. And we'll see what he goes for here. He's probably just looking through to see if he has something that can generate a Lost Soul. There's not really anything I can think of that would do it for him, though. Like, any star cards, at least. Okay, so he takes Offering Your Son. So you can shuffle it to take an OT artifact from deck or animal from reserve. I guess he's probably just saving it to go take Endless Treasures or something back from his deck. Or Hidden Treasures, that also makes sense. Not one that we like to see. And that would almost maybe have been worth, I think, holding Woes for to negate that, but like after he activates it and then before going into battle, but I don't know. We'll see. The bright side, though, is that he doesn't have Storehouse yet, so I can look at his hand next turn and hopefully be able to sneak in another Lost Soul before I start drawing my Lost Souls and having to think about defending more. It's also nice that Majestic Heavens, I don't have any heroes at the moment that have access to it, except for Ezra. I suppose I could, I could attack with Ezra, and he would be able to give up the Exile's Lost Soul, and then, like, target, or put another Lost Soul into here, which means I would have to keep it, my Woes target on Majestic Heavens. But he puts down Profane Daughters and passes the turn. So we're going to draw 3. Ooh, and we hit the star on Rehoboam as well. That's pretty nice. Yeah, I think we go ahead and do that. So we get to discard a good card from his reserve. Not protected by anything, as we mentioned, he doesn't have Storehouse yet. Impartial Judgment is definitely a target here. Oath of Purity... I wonder what he's got with Oath of Purity, like what synergy he has there. I mean, I guess just like bouncing his meek heroes. I don't know that I care too much about that. Although I suppose his Noah could get kind of annoying, but I think Impartial Judgment is probably the best option here. Yeah. Let's see. I've got Sheol, which is nice. So upkeep. And we didn't draw any more Lost Souls, which is really nice. Woes, let's see. So the options right now are basically Zebulon or Majestic Heavens. I guess Zebulon. Well, I mean, if he gets Joseph... Excuse me, if he gets Joseph, then it won't really matter. So I guess Woes on Majestic Heavens in case he does have a way to remove the Lost Soul and reactivate it. So yeah, we'll just keep it there. And yeah, as long as he doesn't have Storehouse, we'll take a look-sees. Vein Vision, that could be not great. Yeah, he can go into something. He's got 2 Prophets right now, so he can pull off or pull 2 cards from his deck. He could have played that last turn on me and put the Lost Souls in play to generate a Lost Soul, which is interesting. interesting that he didn't do that. I mean, also he could have played Mayhem. That might have been okay, but I guess, I mean, he's got a pretty decent hand right now, so Abraham's Descendant is kind of annoying. Gonna have to be careful about what curses I activate. And you can also get that Impartial Judgment back. But as far as defense right now, so unless he plays a dominant like Mayhem or Vain Vision, doesn't really have anything except for Unsuccessful, which yeah, we're not like too worried about because we can make him toss it with Jeremiah, and then if he doesn't, we can just play Angel. So I'm going to deactivate Urim Thummim, make sure that's not in harm's way. Unfortunately, we don't have another artifact to activate, but we do have Sheol. Not really any reason to put Shield on right now because I'm not going to be hitting any of his Lost Souls, I don't think, but yeah, I think now we just go in with Zadok because there's no artifact to take with Ezra, and we don't want to rescue the Soul of Majestic Heavens. And yeah, no Scattered. If there is a Scattered in his top 6, that'd be kind of unfortunate, but we do have Angel of the Lord for that, so we'll trigger Eliezer and search. Be nice if Melchizedek was House of Eliezer, but a little too early for that. So yeah, looks like Phineas is the same one, or only one. Phineas, son of Eliezer, definitely House of Eliezer. So let's see what he searches for here with Profane Daughters, and do I want to hit either of his Lost Souls? No, I don't think so. Ah, right. So he can still use his Prophets of Samaria to look at my hand and swap something. I guess, yeah, so he opted not to search with Profane Daughters. He could have grabbed like Oath of Purity or something. But yeah, it looks like he's exchanging my Rehoboam with something in my reserve, which basically, so all the curses, Uzzah, or Wasting Disease, none of those are really great options, but I guess either of the curses he can just grab with Abraham's Descendant, so that's kind of what I expect to see. Uzzah would not be great for him because that's still an auto block against Zebulun. And like usually able to block better, or like he's got 2 toughness, so he could block from territory. Yeah, I think so. He's got Unsuccessful, but it would be getting tossed. Okay, yeah, so he didn't play, he had to play 3 woes before. So he meant to play 3 woes before, but then I'm going to play Angel before he plays. Before he plays Unsuccessful. So yeah, we don't have access to exiles, so he has to give up, well, he gives up the Awake instead of the Lawless, which is probably good, because I feel like Lawless is a little more potential to give him some value still, since it's just when drawn, not, or like, it doesn't have the stipulation of except by your special ability, which is why Awake is not the best in the current meta where there's like so much drawing. I think I keep all the curses in my hand for now, and yeah, we just pass the turn. So, question is, if he can generate a lost soul somehow, which not sure if he'll be able to now. Like, I can't really think of too many other soul gen pieces that he would be running in a Genesis deck other than Majestic Heavens. So he's putting woes on Jeremiah still, which makes sense. We'll see. I mean, if we draw like Book of the Covenant or something, that we can always just bounce. We can bounce Jeremiah and play him that way, so not too worried about that. Well, I guess, I mean, I have to draw I have to draw a book in order to do that, but I can also draw Delivered, Offering Your Son, or Emmaus Road, so we've got a few options to hit here. He puts Enosh down, which is not super fun. That negates my neutral cards, so I guess that actually makes things a little more difficult. But we can target that with woes. I think that's probably, like, I'm good with taking woes off of Majestic Heavens to put it on Enosh. So yeah, he uses his book to take Oath of Purity. I Am Holy is activating. He's discarding Offering Your Son from his hand, which makes sense. He's probably got most of the artifacts out of his deck already, except for like maybe Endless Treasures that he put back in there. I feel like he's not going to really be doing that much banding, so Scattered probably isn't necessary, but all the curses, is that good enough? I don't know. Yeah, I think we can ship Scattered. We can maybe do without that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really glad to not be drawing Lost Souls now, because I did a few, or like in the other games that I've played with the deck and the test draws that I've done, I feel like I've just drawn so many Lost Souls on the first turn, like 2 to 4 Lost Souls every turn. Oh yeah, that's right, he still has Vain Vision. So yeah, he gets to look at my top 6, and he can put the Lost Souls in play, take up to X cards he owns, so he doesn't get to take any cards from my deck, but he does get to choose to top deck and or underdeck the rest, so only 1 Lost Soul in my top 6. So the way to like top deck and or underdeck something with Lackey, I think, is to basically reorder the cards so that the cards on top or bottom, depending on how you want to do it, are like the ones that are like there's a chunk that you want to go on top or a chunk you want to go on bottom, and then you just make the you put them all on top or bottom, and then you reveal however many you want to go to the opposite end of the deck. So he goes out with Zebulon. He draws a card, right? And doesn't matter that he draws, because Zebulon ignores the toughness, which means that Ahaz still can't enter battle because his toughness is 12. Oh, he drew the Hunter Lost Soul. Does he use it? No, darn. Yeah, so we can't block with Ahaz here, and he took out the evil character from hand, so yep, we gotta give it to him. Zebulon's still getting the job done. So if we can draw into something that'll give us book, then we've got Oath of Purity that can bounce Ahaz and Jeremiah. Of course, that does put Ahaz back in our hand, which is a little unfortunate. Or like, it gets it back to being targeted by the first sacrifice, but also can't block Zebulon at this point, so I don't know. Maybe I should have just put woes on Zebulon. Because I can't really think of any way that he would have been able to get exiles out of Majestic Heavens on his own, and I didn't attack with the hero that had access. So, yeah, maybe that would have been better, although I think he could have used Covenant with Noah to search for Joseph. Maybe he would have done Vain Vision first, though, and then I could have punished him with the search off of Sheol. I don't know. We'll see. We got another Lost Soul here. Ooh, that Amon. That's a nice draw to negate his Enosh. Top deck, a brown enhancement from discard pile. I don't know if that's really worth it. I guess should I use Offering Your Son first? Basically just cycle an enhancement so I can discard something and I can discard something and then top deck it. Does that even make sense? Is that basically just to like get to the next card in my deck because I don't know that I'll need any of this? Oh, we also drew Offering Your Son, so wow, yeah, that works out real well. Yeah, let's not bother with Offering Your Son. Or at least the star ability on either of those. So we move woes off Majestic Heavens, put it on Zebulon, and then we put down Amon, who is also going to be ignored, but not if Zebulon's negated, which means he can just search with Covenant with Noah for Joseph, but if he searches, then we get to trigger Sheol. So there's that. Yeah, okay. I think we got things figured out here. Reveal its owner. I don't think there's anything punishing me for searching at this point. He does have Foreign Wives in his hand, so we do have to be careful about drawing. So yeah, we could definitely get Book and not like Endless Treasures. Do we put Book on Solomon's Temple is the question, because then we can activate all the curses here. He did already play Shipwreck, so I think, yeah, we're actually okay with doing that. No storehouses, awesome. We really like that. Wow, okay. Son of God and Angel. I guess he does have the line playing Son of God, then Mayhem, but he still doesn't get the Wives block. He could use Prophets of Baal to hit his Vain Visions from discard pile and look at his own deck and maybe get something that he can play before unsuccessful. If he does that, I think that's fine. He kind of uses up a lot of resources. If he plays Mayhem, I think that's fine. He did play Abraham's Descendant last turn. What did he even do with that? Okay, yeah, he put Impartial Judgment on the bottom. So, yeah, he wasn't sure why Enosh was not stopping my Urim and Thummim, but Amon is negating Enosh. Amon's pretty sweet. I like him. I like him a lot. Alright, so now we put Book up. We search for Oath of Purity. Or do we just get You'll Remain? Because that works against unsuccessful as well. I think it's better to try to put Ahaz back into my hand. Feels a little bad. Although we could also bounce the Prophets of Samaria. No, okay. He didn't have a way to remove this, did he? Just playing Mayhem. But I guess, I mean, if I begin a new battle, it's not going to be as good. So yeah, we search for Oath of Purity. We activate Oath of Purity. So we bounce these two. So we can clear Jeremiah. Oh, you know what? Ooh. He's got First Sacrifice, and then also he's got Angel in his hand, so he can take out Amon in territory, which is not great because that also shuts off my Sheol. So actually I should probably just put Ahaz back down at the end of turn and just hope that Zebulun being negated is going to do it. Oh, I don't know, that feels kind of bad, or feels kind of risky. But, not him. I guess putting Ahaz back in my hand does make it so that he can trigger his Prophets of Samaria and put Ahaz in my reserve as well, which isn't great. The nice part is that King Ahaziah can grab... Oh, he can't grab Rehoboam. Darn. King Ahaziah grabs a 2nd Kings or 2nd Chronicles card from my reserve, so he could grab Ahaz if really wanted to or needed him to. Yeah, so he goes for the... Oh, okay. So he gets to look at the top card of his deck, and then he can banish Vain Visions from his discard pile and use it on himself if he wants. Which is probably what he's going to do. I think... So... Huh. Oh, you know what? Playing Chronicles before activating my book might have... Right. Yeah, might have been okay. Could take out his book. He's taking 2 cards. We'll see what he does here. If he hits Scattered, that would be kind of sad, because then he can just toss Unsuccessful, and then Scattered would hit my heroes. Yeah, that doesn't feel great, but... ooh, but banishing Vain Visions from his discard pile does trigger Sheol. So when he banishes the Evil Dominant from his discard pile, that is a search ability. Which I guess he did not realize. So yeah, we let him play something. Might, if he... This is going to be the tricky part. If he tosses Unsuccessful, just to get it out of the way for Jeremiah, do I play Chronicles of the Kings? Because, like, what other options could he have other than Scattered, right? If he plays anything else, so that he can then play Unsuccessful, then Chronicles of the Kings is definitely good. But yeah, so he tosses unsuccessful, and since it's got 0 strength, then yeah, I mean, it's gotta be scattered, right? Or Balaam's. Yeah, that doesn't help me either, so yeah, probably Balaam's or scattered. Yeah, Chronicles wouldn't have worked either way, so but I can top deck Jeremiah instead, which I think is good. Yeah, especially because I was able to put the Lost Soul on bottom, so putting Jeremiah on top means he's before the rest of my Lost Souls. So yeah, if Jeremiah is harmed except by a capture ability, you can top deck him instead. Really great with Joshua the Restorer, because then you can just draw him back right away. But in this case, we're using Joshua the High Priest, same hero, but different ability, because we don't really have that much top deck stuff, and Joshua is better for... So he drew a Remnant Lost Soul, which is negated by all the curses, which is good, because that's not negated by Enosh, because Enosh is negated by Amon. So our counter cards are doing their jobs. So yeah, again, the reason that we put down Ahaz at the end of turn is even though Zebulon's going to ignore him, I feel like either, I mean, he's going to underdeck him from my hand, or he's going to, or like if I keep him in my hand, and if I put him down, then he can't just play Angel on one of my evil characters to deactivate the Unity on my Sheol. So it's going to make it very difficult for him to generate a Lost Soul. Alright, so he's putting woes on all the curses. Stop me from negating his neutral cards. Which is good, because that does allow him to draw off of book. Fortunately, no more Jeremiah. Well, you know, Jeremiah is safely on top of my deck, so that he you know, can't be negated by woes, which is good. Ooh, that's not what I like to see. Melchizedek, protecting Lost Souls from evil cards. It kind of shuts down my Sheol, but it's currently shut down by Amon, which he can use. Let's see. Yeah, he can use Angel of the Lord to take out Amon and territory if he needs to, wants to. So it's not great, but alright, so he's not using I Am Holy, just using Oath of Purity to bounce his Abraham and his Zebulon, which makes sense, kind of doing the same thing that I did with my Oath of Purity to turn my Jeremiah back on, so he's now doing that with Zebulon. He's playing Eyes to See, which I can, so you can look at the yeah, he got to play, or he played Eyes to See to underdeck the top 3 cards in my deck, which is smart, because you knew that Jeremiah was on top, but you don't actually look at the cards that you're underdecking, you just underdeck them, like at random. Well, not at random, but you just just put them on the bottom without revealing them. But we did get to see him in this case because Chad didn't realize that. It's not a very popular card. But we wouldn't have drawn a lost soul, which is nice to see. I'm sure he would have felt pretty bad, though, if there was a lost soul in there. So he's doing a battle challenge with Abraham, playing a meek red hero from his deck, and probably drawing. Just to try to get into some more defense, I guess. Making him use both unsuccessful and scattered in one block was quite good. I like that. Now, drawing a battle winner would be nice for me. Is there any reason for me to block here? No, I don't think so. Like, yeah, I don't think I have an idol in my deck that I want to play. And Ahaz doesn't really do much. Foreign horses would have maybe drawn it to a lost soul, so don't really want to do that. Abraham should be meek, just doing that for him. And he put down Judah, he put down false leaders, which is negated by Amon at the moment. Actually, no, it's not, because I don't have any lost souls. That's alright. So I do have to remember that for... No, Enosh is working wherever he is, somewhere. That Enosh is currently negating my neutral cards because I don't have any lost souls to satisfy the unity on Amon. So, it's putting down Nahor as meek, putting down a bunch of meek heroes, which is a little bit scary because he put Impartial Judgment back on the bottom of his deck, which he's only got 12 cards left in his deck and he's shuffled quite a few times, so he probably has it again already. And we know he has hidden treasures, so yeah, might be time to start worrying about that, I guess. I don't know. Definitely hiding the souls has been the idea of this game. Like, I don't know that my defense would really be doing a whole lot against Zebulon right now. And we know he has Son of God, he probably has Second Coming as well, so I think that's really the only reason we're holding on here. Like, it's... the score is currently 2-2, but it definitely feels like I'm still quite a bit behind, because I still have 37 cards left in my deck to his 12. No Son of God or Second Coming in sight. So, yeah, we're a little bit in trouble. Just a little bit. I wonder if Treasures of War would be worth it. Like, I mean, I have Ezra that can take stuff, but... Ooh, well, there's Son of God. It's at least part of the way there. Unfortunately, no battle winner. That really hurts. Like, a lot. But know, Phineas plus Chronicles could get it done. You know? You never know. You never know. I mean, I guess we can find out. He still doesn't have Storehouse, so... but what do we want to use Woes on? Woes is evil. I guess we just put Woes on Enosh. So that we can look at his hand. So, yeah, we turn this over, which clears it. Oops. Turn this over to look. We didn't draw off Book of the Covenant, because we don't want to draw Lost Soul. And I also forgot, so works out. Love it when the plan comes together. Nothing protecting his hand, I don't believe. And 12 cards left in his deck, and he hasn't hit Storehouse or a way to like search for it. I mean, he might not have a way to search for it, but I feel like Reverence and Awe probably would be in his deck. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Soothsayers of Babylon. Interesting. He lost his Profane Daughter, so does he have more magicians? I don't know. But it looks like we're going to be able to get in unless he... Perhaps the Mayhem here, which he might actually do because... not having Lost Souls to rescue is a bummer. Let's see. Put a mana in each upkeep. Name a card. Yeah, I don't think I'm really concerned about that. -3, 3, if the numbers. I guess he does get to draw if he blocks with Lying Prophet, so maybe we just... or we could just put all the good cards with brigades down. I mean, why not, right? Okay, let's turn that over first. Don't be silly. Which one do I want with Book? I guess I could just grab New Covenant so I have a battle winner. Ooh, but that puts 3 brigades in my hand. That feels bad. But I could ban to one of his heroes if I activate it. That puts another card in my deck, though. Feels kind of bad. Ooh, we do have hand advantage right now, so if we use Book, then he can play with False Piece. So let's... Before we use Book, we'll make sure that we don't have hand advantage here, so that his False Leaders is turned off. Alright. Take it. You will remain. And then we'll bounce. Who do I want to bounce? I think just False Leaders and Prophets. I guess I should clarify Prophets of Samaria. Just the territory class ones, because they're currently not being negated. And then we put down You'll Remain. It does kind of put a lot of eggs into our Book of the Covenant basket here, but he did already play Shipwreck, so I'm not too worried about Solomon's Temple. And I think then we just put all her stuff down so we don't have any good brigades for him to draw. I guess so, yeah. I kind of want to go in with Ezra so I can band, but I can bandage Joshua, but then he would be able to give up exiles. I'm negating his neutral cards, but then he can negate it with woes. Okay, so yep, we have to... Oh, but I do have Sheol. But he has Melchizedek, and he's not negated by Amon, so... Alright. Yeah, I think we just go with Phineas. I don't think he... Well, okay, so if he blocks with Wives... No, because False Dreams places in his territory. So if he blocks with Wives, we don't play Chronicles because we don't want to negate False Dreams. He's got Prophets, which is a 9/3. So he looks at my hand, and I should probably play Son of God before giving him initiative. Yeah, I think so. Which one do we want to rescue? Probably Remnant. Yeah. By putting everything down, we also de-incentivize Mayhem, because then we'll get more card advantage when he does play it. So like I'll get 3 cards back. False Dreams is his only evil enhancement, right? Yeah, okay. Oh, I guess he could have exchanged. So yeah, he has to exchange a card from my hand with a card of Matching Brigade in its owner's reserve. So gives me Wasting Disease for my Gib trick, and then I think I rescue the Lost Soul because he didn't have anything to play aside from False Dreams. So so now I think I just put, I mean, he's got Oath of Purity, so he can bounce my he can just bounce whoever I put Foreign Horses on. But I guess then he can't use Oath of Purity on his own, like Enosh or something, so I mean, basically just forcing him to use it. I think we just make it really bad for him to play Mayhem, because that's the only way he can generate a Lost Soul as far as I know, and if I've only got 1 card in hand, then that's a +5 for me. So I think that's the way we gotta go here. Plus if he does, then I can potentially draw into Second Coming, which would not be great for him. But if he can generate a Lost Soul some other way, yeah, Exiles was still in Majestic Heavens, and I didn't have access because I was just in teal. I didn't realize that that was the one that he gave me because I wasn't paying attention. Alright, so he's giving me Hunter instead. Oops. There we go. I mean, I guess he could use Oath of Purity to bounce 2 of my characters and then play Mayhem. And that feels a little bad, especially if he does Ahaz with Foreign Horses in Amon. Honestly, could have just discarded Foreign Horses and then maybe gotten it back later if I really needed to with Endless Treasures. Although, yeah, I guess Endless Treasures still has Golden Calf and Asher Pole. I haven't drawn Endless Treasures yet this game, so I haven't used it for anything. Like, Flying Scroll is still in my deck. I think if I do draw Endless Treasures, then I go for Flying Scroll. Oh wait, did I use Endless Treasures to get all the curses out? No, he exchanged it. Yeah, so if I draw Endless Treasures, then that would be nice. Alright, so he plays False, yeah, he didn't really do anything on his turn because he didn't have a way to generate a Lost Soul, but he played Soothsayers, didn't have another Magician, so he couldn't use the ability. Put down the Deceiver and put down False Dreams just to get down to 8 cards, which is a little, like, that's rough. I didn't even draw a Lost Soul here. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't draw with Book, because now I have Gifts and Offerings, which means New Covenant with Joshua and Dutiful is quite good. I mean, really, it's not super optimal. I mean, I guess like not having Lost Souls is the best defense, but um, like with all the Unity, like meek Lost Souls stuff that I have, it's not like great. I mean, I guess it's worse for this deck than other decks. So I'll put it that way. But you know, obviously, I can't really complain. So we'll go look at what he kept in there for defense, I guess. And nothing's protected. Yeah, so yeah, Mayhem, I guess that's definitely an out for him to get around my gifts and offerings and stuff. But then I can also basically just have to get rid of false dreams if I happen to draw into Second Coming. I think he should have put Foreign Wives down so that he could play Mayhem into it. Although I guess, yeah, I could have just bounced it with Oath of Purity. So, what does this do? Convert all heroes in battle to pale green this turn on defense. I guess yeah, Joshua doesn't care because Noah is silver. That's kind of funny. Alright, so yeah, Mayhem is pretty much his only play right now. So, how do we answer the Mayhem? I mean, I guess we just play Chronicles before he blocks. Do I still negate his neutral cards? Or do I shuffle if he searches? I think I'd shuffle if he searches. Just because like Deceiver searches, he might have something there, I suppose, like Uzza. That would be annoying. Oh, but Melchizedek is currently on, so Uzza doesn't work because he's protecting his own Lost Souls. Let's see. So, do I leave up You Will Remain, or do I use Oath of Purity? He's got more than 6 cards in hand, so Mayhem, like bouncing his characters doesn't really hurt him against Mayhem, but I guess, yeah, so I think we leave up You Will Remain. And we activate New Covenant to give to give Dutiful Priest the ability to band. I guess I didn't name the thing, but I think Solomon's Temple is the pretty clear choice here. I don't know why this note does thing. Do I play Zadok Anoints beforehand? I guess, yeah, probably. What do I search for? Reveal to owner all. I don't even know. Jeremiah is good. I guess that kind of really gets around Mayhem. But I kind of want to just do Joshua instead. It just feels like more fun, you know? We're going for content, not just Jeremiah shenanigans. Oops. Let's see. And I can underdeck his false dreams with this as well. That seems pretty good. Not that he'll let me get to that point, I guess, because if he does, then he loses, I think, so... Ooh, oh. Oh, I could have banded to Ezra, taken his Book of the Covenant. Yeah, that would have been good. And then banded to Joshua, because Ezra is CBI. Oh well. Yeah, that decides not to go for the mayhem there, kind of realizing that it's probably a lost cause, and yeah, having all that offense in his hand and nothing to play it on kind of sucks for, I mean, just like gameplay wise, like it's not really all that fun. I mean, I did get a couple of underdecks with Sheol, so it's not like completely like luck and stuff, but I mean, definitely a lot, because I've got like what, 6 lost souls left still in my 31 cards, so I mean, to be fair, I guess I didn't even get halfway through my deck because it is a 57. So yeah, that's he had to run quick, but thank you guys for watching the game. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing priests, at least on offense, and didn't really get to see the defense do much of anything, unfortunately, except for just hide lost souls, which I guess, you know, that's a defense sometimes. Maybe we'll try to get another game in with this deck at some point. Maybe do some tweaks. I don't know. Maybe I'll even play in a tournament. It seems kind of fun, but it's also kind of slow. So, I don't know, tournament games, having the time limit and everything might be a little tricky. But anyways, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.